Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a bitch and moan Monday, and fire the cannons, fire the entire staff, fire everybody, clean the house. What an awful loss by the Buccaneers to the Houston Texans. We're going to go over so many horrible mistakes, bad coaching, bad playing, bad tackling, bad thinking, bad everything. Bad football, to paraphrase the great Lou Piniella. Man, that was ugly on so many levels. We're going to break it all down. Matt Matera is going to join us from the Pewter Report at 11 o'clock. We should have some special callers in the first hour as well. Very angry Buccaneer fans that you may want to tune into. Kasey Hudson's going to join us at 11:15 as the Bolts back on the winning track, finally get a road win, and they're at Toronto tonight. A couple of big games for them this week. So we'll talk about a winning team as well. We'll get into a ton of college football, and we'll have a great time today in the next 2 hours. If you guys want to bitch and moan, you can join us in the comment section on Facebook. You can do it on Twitter as well. You can join us on YouTube. You know the links. You know where to go, folks. If you want to comment, jump right in. Everybody's already in, so we'll get to all you guys. And don't forget, if you ever want to donate to the show, you can hit that link tree and donate to the cause. I'll say good morning to you, Nick Geddes from On3 Sports. I know you are rip-raring and ready to go today.
Oh my God! I mean, the bitch and moan Monday. I mean, is this the new mantra here on the JP show?
Yeah, we'll be as long as Todd Bowles is the coach. I can tell you that.
I mean, we haven't had a victory Monday in 35, 36 days or whatever it is right now. So, I'll just sum it up like this real quick before I let you get into your monologue. I'm not surprised. You're not surprised anymore. I've been a Bucs fan my entire life. You've covered this team for 25 years. We've seen this team lose in every imaginable way possible. Yesterday, they found another way to lose a game. Yesterday, they found another way to be on the wrong side of the record books. And I'll just say this to the last drive, and we're going to get into it. It's not surprising because I watched the Todd Bowles defense do the same thing in a playoff game 2 years ago.
Yes,
so what makes me surprised that it happened in week 9 of a regular season game? I'm not surprised at all. So, I'm used to this feeling. It is what it is when you're a Bucs fan. They are who they are. They are who they are.
It's a great dichotomy that you set up right there, because when you look at who that happened to, that was the Rams. That was a Super Bowl winning team, Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp. It's an epic collapse. It cannot happen in that situation. Smart football players and smart coaches would never let it happen, and it happened. What happened yesterday, you have to look through the prism of the opponent in every single way. And when you lose to an opponent like this, you are straight garbage. And I don't mean this personally. This is all, I'm speaking about their play everything I say today is about their play, not about them personally. All right. I'm not making any personal attacks. But their play was straight garbage. Consider, this is a football team that lost to the Carolina Panthers last week. Their first win, Carolina's. We know how bad Carolina is, okay? C.J. Stroud threw for 140 yards last week. That's it against the Panthers. Terrible. The Panthers, by the way, the second worst scoring defense in football. Second worst in football, the Panthers. Somehow they found a way to hold C.J. Stroud to 140 yards. Okay? Without they put 4 offensive linemen on injured reserve already. They're down to their 4th string center. Now, they had their 2 tackles, and Mason were playing, but their tackles were also beat up. Both of them were hobbled. And you got some pressure, but you didn't get any pressure when you needed to. You allowed C.J. Stroud to sit in the pocket and just pick you apart on that final drive. You rush 4 and drop 7 guys covering Nobody. They don't know how to play zone. They don't know how to cover. They just let people run through and stand in certain places and don't react when players run into their zone. When you play zone, you don't just stand in one spot. When a guy comes into your area, you guard him. That's how you play zone defense. You don't just let him turn around 15 yards from the quarterback, Devin White, on the first play of the final drive and let him pitch and catch. 15 yards. Do the math, guys. If you give away 15 yards on every play with 46 seconds left, let me think now. 46. Yeah, pretty much you can get to the end zone. 6 seconds of play. It's pretty simple. You just give it to him. And that's exactly what you did. Don't rush don't blitz, because when you blitzed, you know what happened? You got sacks because the offensive line was confused. And you made plays. You caused holding penalties. But why would you blitz at the end? Oh, no, because our guys are so good in coverage, let's just let them sit back there in coverage. They're effing awful. If you look at the play before the touchdown to Tank Dell, the one that got them down to the 10-yard line, first of all, you're not rerouting anybody at the line of scrimmage. You're asked a free release. You can reroute a guy and then jump into your zone. That's allowed. You can do that. You can play that way. That eats up time for your rush to get there. Not that they're going to get there with 4 against those guys. 4 guys, he's going to sit back there all day long. Eventually, he's going to find somebody in your porous zone defense. And so Zion McCollum and D. Delaney just allow the guy to run right into the cover 2 hole and catch the football against the sideline when they got no timeouts left. It's unbelievable how stupid these players are. How stupid they play. They're not stupid people. How stupid they play. It's unbelievable. The lack of situational awareness in basic football is insane. And you could go through this tape, which I did, and I'm just writing crap down that is so obvious all day long. It's like, do you ever practice? Do they ever practice? So you lose to a team that lost to the Panthers. It's down all those offensive. Both starting safeties are out of the game by the first quarter. No Dameon Pierce, their best running back. No Robert Woods, although their young receivers are good enough. No Sheldon Rankins, their best defensive tackle. I mean,
no kicker.
And no kicker. No freaking kicker. You allow the kicker. And by the way, on that 29-yard field goal he makes, do you rush guys from the outside to make sure that operation happens in the 2.1 seconds that it has to happen? Because you're allowed to you're going to run off the sides and you're going to make him make that kick in that particular time. And what do our outside guys do? They don't even rush. Okay, but you're waiting for the fake. You can still play the fake by rushing guys from the outside in the formation they are in. You don't even rush them in case he takes too long to get the kick. How stupid is that? The guy's a running back and you don't even rush the kicker. Can you please, Keith Armstrong, explain to me how that works? Oh, well, we're playing for the fake. You can't do both? You can't play for the fake in the formation. They're in a field goal formation. You can't have linebackers from the outside look for the fake while sending at least one guy in to make sure that the operation is on time? Because I'm going to tell you what, it wasn't. He took a false step before he kicked the 29-yard field goal. This is what I'm talking about. How stupid is that? That's so effing dumb. I can't even look at me. I'm apoplectic. Look at me. My face is getting red.
It's hard to wrap your head around. Everything you saw in that field, it's hard to wrap your head around. And I'll say it again. These are the same players, a lot of them who have been in this defense for 5 years of Todd Bowles, or 5 seasons under Todd Bowles. It's the same players. And if I have to hear more about busting coverage and we can't play zone and we're not, if we played it right, if we played the right way, we could play in zone. Well, you're not a zone football team. You're not a zone football team, Todd. You can try to play zone the entire game all you want, but clearly your guys either suck at playing it or you suck at teaching it. It's one of the two. And I told you that. I've been telling you all this all year. Everybody's hyping up this defense. Oh, this defense is giving the Bucs a chance to win. You know what? They've been bend, not break all season long.
They've been lucky all year. They've been lucky in the red zone. Let's call it what it is, because everybody's pointing at the points per game. And folks, you want to look at these stupid ass numbers and never look at the tape. You don't know what you're talking about. You look at the tape all year long. They can't stop the run. They have the worst middle linebacker, number 45 in football. He's a pair of shoes. There was a 3rd and 14 when they run a screen to the outside, right? He's the guy that's coming to block him is so late he doesn't even get to him. And Devin White has a free shot at a wide receiver, and he barely slows him down.
He didn't even want to make the play.
Didn't even want to make contact. Didn't even want to make contact. And he gets unblocked and runs through the middle and sacks C.J. Stroud and jumps up and does a horse thing like he just did something. Nobody even a huge hole, gaping hole opens up. He runs straight to the quarterback and doesn't overrun it. So I guess that's why he's celebrating, because he's one-on-one with the quarterback who's looking downfield, and he gets him to the ground and he celebrates it with a big, I'm gonna ride the cowboy. And Charles Davis is like, oh, what a great play! Come on,
yeah.
Are you serious?
And you still have the same things of Devin White out there just kind of doing his thing.
Yeah.
Not really producing much.
Yeah, and they're just hey, just run in front of 45.
And how about
he's going to drop 25 yards on the last? Just Dalton, you just run right in front of him,
right?
And just turn around. I'll throw it to you.
And then there's the 75-yard touchdown to Noah Brown.
Oh my!
Who, by the way, Noah Brown goes for like 150 yards. Noah freaking Brown? Are you kidding me? Yeah. Like, we had 3 Texans receivers go over 100 yards. 3 of them. And none of them were the leading receiver that they have in Nico Collins, by the way.
Yeah.
It was 3 other guys. Like, in all respect to Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz, and Noah Brown, these are not elite players in this league. No, and you let all 3 of them have whatever they wanted. You let C.J. Stroud. They make it easy on every single team. It's so easy for every team to dice up this defense. Desmond Ridder had success against this defense. If it wasn't for all those turnovers in the red zone, that game is a lot more lopsided than what it ended up being.
It's a 3-score game. It's just like the Eagles game.
That's why I don't believe. That's why I don't believe in this defense. What's their redeeming quality? They don't rush the passer whatsoever. They don't do it well.
Terrible.
And I know they got credited. They get credited with 3 sacks yesterday, but one of them's the Devin White where just nobody blocks the guy. It was so easy. The Kalijah Kancey one was more of a coverage sack, in my opinion. The only true sack that you had was late in the game when Shaq Barrett, who had some good rushes yesterday, got home on the strip sack, and of course you don't recover the fumble because nobody wants to make a play.
Yeah,
I mean, who makes plays on this defense?
Nobody
outside does. Of 54 has some moments, but he missed a bad tackle yesterday.
54 and 31. That's it.
That's it. If it's not 54 and 31 doing something on that
94
defense.
is pretty good. 50 is pretty good. 50 plays, 94 plays.
Right, but they're
31 plays, 54 plays. Nobody else.
Completely outnumbered. But I was going to go back to the 75-yard touchdown of Noah Brown, which I thought was the big momentum shift in that game.
It was huge.
Guess who made a bad angle on that play? Wouldn't you know who it is? It's our boy Ryan Neal.
Oh, yeah.
It's our boy Ryan Neal. And I got all excited. I saw Scott reported before the game the Bucs were going to give D. Delaney more playing time.
Which they did.
And they did. I'm not saying he's great. He's not.
But he blew one of those coverages against.
Right. But if you're going to go all in on D. Delaney, go all in. I didn't need to see. Every time Ryan Neal went out there, they're picking at him, and he allows a 75-yard touchdown. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's so comical at this point, the decisions that this team continues to make, and that the head coach, I mean, this is now 3 losses that I feel like I can directly contribute to the head coach and the coaching all around on this football team. And Todd Bowles, like, this is I've seen enough. I don't need to see. I mean, I know they're going to let him probably ride out the end of the season. I would not fire him in the season, and I'll tell you why. Because you're going nowhere now. You are going nowhere. You're directionless.
No, and I just so I put it
you are in an avalanche. Todd Bowles said we're not going to let it snowball. First of all,
it already had
snowballs. We're riding an avalanche now down the frickin' the Alps in Swiss or something right now. There's no point. There's no point in giving Harold Goodwin the keys to this for the rest of the season and letting a chance of this team getting re-energized. Exactly. There's no point in it. Don't give me the division. Don't give me, we have a chance. No, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You have the 8th pick in the draft right now. Just stay there.
Go low.
And go full rebuild mode. That's where I'm at right now. There's no sense. There's no sense.
100%. This is what I said on the tees. Don't fire Todd Bowles. No. No, you ensure a 3-win season if you keep him on. You ensure a top 5 pick if you keep Todd Bowles on.
At this point.
So by all means, please Police. I heard, he was asked by Rick Stroud, you give up the coaching duties. No. Under no circumstances. Please let him direct this defense. He's setting records in the NFL. They've been playing since they had leather helmets on, folks. Rookie quarterback is not thrown for 470 yards.
Right.
A week after the Panthers hold him to 140, you can't figure out how to hold him to 200.
For all this talk, and I heard Charles Davis. I heard Charles Davis on commentary yesterday saying this, and I wanted to throw up about Todd Bowles is such an aggressive D coordinator and this and that. This is a what have you done for me lately league. I don't care if he was aggressive in 2020. I don't care if he was aggressive in 2021. This variation of the Bucs defense is so far from that, and he's so far from that as a defensive coordinator. I said it last week. It looks like the defense is regressing. I don't even think it's an argument anymore. They're starting to bottom out when you allow that team to score 39 points on you, and for that to happen in the final 40 seconds of a football game, you're just not a good defense. This team, ever since Todd Bowles, I said this yesterday on Twitter, give me one thing that this team has gotten better at since Todd Bowles became the head coach. Give me one thing.
Can't name it.
So what's he here for?
To lose games, obviously. Listen, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of why Todd Bowles is the head coach here and why he remains the head coach here. We all know why. It started with Tom Brady. Bruce Arians wanted to give opportunities to some guys he felt deserved opportunities, and they have failed miserably. And I don't want to hear about, it's not his roster, it wasn't his coaches, it wasn't this, it wasn't that. He had a Super Bowl core team with the greatest quarterback in the history of the game, and you allowed everything to go downhill. Yes, there were a lot of outside things that happened but guess what? It happens to every team.
He oversaw that.
Exactly.
And he's got to wear it.
Things happen to every team. And I'm so tired of the excuses. Look at the excuses the Houston Texans had to lose yesterday. If they would have lost yesterday, you'd have said, they were down the offense. Their two safeties went out. They lost their kicker, for God's sake. Excuse after excuse. And guess what? Here's the thing. They found a way to win.
Here's the thing, too. Everybody talks about first-time play callers on our side of the ball with Dave Canales and all this. Was that correct me if I'm wrong, that was a first-year play caller over there on that side of the ball with Bobby Slowick. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. He seems like he's got it figured out, and you got a first-year head coach in D'Amico Ryans, and a rookie quarterback, and they schooled Todd Bowles. And this happened. This is a reoccurring theme. Todd Bowles, since he's been has been the head coach of the Bucs, he's lost to the combination of Kenny Pickett / Mitch Trubisky. Yep. He lost to Jacoby Brissett. He's lost to Desmond Ridder. And now he's lost to C.J. Stroud and allowed him to have the greatest rookie performance of all time. So don't tell me that Todd Bowles' defense is all this great messiah that it's going to save the Buccaneers. It's not. Yeah, it's not. You want to talk about
the tape from the beginning of this season? It's been a joke all year long. They've been so lucky with Antoine Winfield punching the ball out at the one, Desmond Ridder dropping the ball at the one. Who's the other quarterback I'm thinking of? Jalen Hurts throwing the ball right to Devin White. That's not even an earned interception. Jalen Hurts dropping the ball. I mean, they've been so lucky in the red zone. Lucky in the red zone. Teams haven't scored commensurate to the yards that they've given up. They've been schooled all year long. They've just been getting lucky. They were lucky to be in a lot of these games. And this is what we've seen all year long if you're watching the tape and not just simply reading numbers off a page, which is what we don't do. We look inside the game, and you can see straight out that this defense has been garbage all year long. The offense has been garbage for most of the year. And listen, credit to the offense yesterday. They played really, really well. And even in the last 4 minutes, they get the ball. How lack of urgency. They get bailed out because the ball falls into Mike Evans' hands. But you have 42 seconds. It's 2:42 on the clock. You run two running plays before the 2 minute warning.
Started with a running play. By the way, it wasn't the running back who at that point in the game had 112 total yards. It's Chase Edmonds. What is any running back doing out there on the biggest drive of the football game other than Rashad White, who had 112 yards at that point?
Running backwards 8 yards, what he's doing.
And Chase Edmonds, Chase Edmonds, can we get this guy a new pair of cleats? I mean, this is Cole Beasley from last year all over again. The guy can't stay upright. He's slipping and sliding everywhere. We're still giving touches to Keyshawn Vaughn. That's the thing. The offense scored 37 points yesterday, and I'm going to give him all the credit in the world. Baker played well, but there's still things that make me want to pull my hair out, whether it's the sequencing. It's like they got up 17-7, and I thought they went a little conservative there because that's exactly what this team does when they get a lead, and Todd Bowles wants to play that way.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, you score 37, you get the ball into the end zone with 46 seconds left or whatever it was, and then in that whole sequence, the play that everybody's talking about is, he was given the opportunity to take the 10-second runoff there late in the game. Yep. And again, he decides to call the final timeout, and it's illogical because you're already at like the 18-yard line or whatever it is. Right. You have to score, so obviously you're going to be thrown to the end zone every single play. So what's the problem with having the 10-second runoff and you still have the timeout in your back pocket if something happens?
Exactly.
Like, you're throwing to the end zone every single play.
Exactly.
So why not take the 10-second runoff there?
You take the 10-second runoff and you control it and keep the time. It's obvious. Same thing, like we were joking back and forth. Once again, took 3 timeouts to halftime when he could have got another possession. Folks, when you have those 3 timeouts and you can manipulate another possession, that's a turnover. That's just as good as a turnover. Every coach should be aware of getting that turnover. That's your job as a coach, to get that turnover before halftime, whether you're getting the ball or you're not getting the ball. In this case, they were getting the ball. So you would have got that extra possession. But he just lets the clock run. He never thinks ahead of time. No. And it does, folks, how many times have you seen an offense run out of time before the half? It's very rare. It's very rare because they're going to use their timeouts and having the ball, stopping the clock with clocking it or what have you. They're going to figure out a way to have enough time to do what they need to do, right? Normally 90% of the time. So the possession is way more important than maybe keeping them in a hurry or they're not going to have enough time. They always have enough time. So your job is to, with 3 and 4 minutes left in the half, if they have the ball, to start conserving clock to make sure they can't run it out before the half. And 2 weeks in a row, we've taken three timeouts to halftime. Like he's cobbling them together for a postseason bonus. Hey, if I have 45 timeouts at the end of the year, I think I get a bonus. No, you get nothing. He is again, just this such is not a 1985 thinker. He knows it's defense. It's just. Ugh.
And this is not a rookie head coach. This is a guy who, this is like his 6th or 7th year as a head coach in this league.
Yes, and every season has been a losing year except the first one.
Exactly, and every season has been a train wreck outside of the first one. That's all it's been. It's underachieved, and the things that he can directly control as a head coach when it comes to these type of things, he gets a failing grade across the board. Like I said it last week after the Bills game and the way that game transpired, it's the way they're losing, by the way. It's the way they're losing that's the most frustrating part. Nobody had expectations that they're going to win a Super Bowl or they're going to reel off 11, 12, 13 wins. That's not who they are. But getting to 9 wins, 8 wins with the roster they have looked doable. Now it looks borderline impossible at this point. And it's the way that they're losing games. Like even in like the Eagles and the Lions and the Bills and all that, they held all 3 of those teams to under their scoring average. Like in various parts, they were in those games, but it's like the coaching in the middle of all these games and the execution, game management, it just leaves so much to be desired. And you sit here today at 3-5 as a directionalist football team, and this has the makings of something that's going to spiral, in my opinion. This was the Kirk Cousins Who Dat game. This was it. This was it for Todd Bowles. This is the first time. It's not really the first time, but I guess everybody hopped on the narrative yesterday. This is the first time where everybody's looked at it and said, you know what? They got no hope. They got zero hope with Todd Bowles as their head coach. And that's where we are right now.
Yeah. And I had said before the season, this roster is good enough to win the South. It is. I said my biggest question mark is this coaching staff and how they're going to motivate the players, how they're going to get them to play at their best, because this is the essence of coaching, right? You're supposed to take the talent level and raise it up, right? As a coach, right, putting them in their best positions to play, developing them, motivating them, creating a culture where the sum of the parts is better than the individuals, right? That's what coaching is supposed to do. That you elevate your team, you manage your way, you Tomlin your way to wins, right? Now look at what Mike Tomlin does with the talent he has.
And they've gotten outgained in every single game, and they're 5-3.
And they win because he knows how to manage games. Smart. He knows how to do this, right? Todd Bowles he's the anti-Tomlin. You're given every break in the world, and you still can't put away games. You still can't put away games. And time again, we see this. And Carlton Davis is a perfect example. For some ungodly reason, Jamar Chase comes out, or this interview comes out yesterday, and he's asked who's the toughest corner he plays against, and he says Carlton Davis. You know who C.J. Stroud and Tank Dell picked on yesterday all day long? Carlton Davis. Like, they picked on him. They said, that guy's the weak link, and we're going after him. He has not played worth a crap all year long. He gave up, 4 of the touchdowns yet? 3, at least 3.
He gave up 3. And if you're keeping track at home, by the way, he's got 1 interception in his last 31 games.
Yeah, and this guy makes what? $17 million a year?
About
$17 million. And this is the guy who said before the season, oh, we going to wreck shit. Oh, we going to wreck shit. We going to get so many turnovers. Really? The first play down the sideline, he's just awful footwork. Oh, terrible position. So lazy. And this is the way he plays. Lazy. He plays. They all look so. Look at him before the snap. They're all just like standing around, like before, they're not in a ready position. They don't even look ready to play. And they're just like standing around. Snap, they just, take a few steps back. Let's see what's going to happen. Oh, crap, he's running by me. I better flip my hips and get to the back corner of the end zone. Oops, too late. Guy's catching the ball right in the back corner of the end zone. Yeah. Dude, how do you get beat on that play? You got you have one job to cover that deep quarter, I think, on that coverage. Whatever. Only guy in your zone, he's running at you. You better get ready. You better get ready to turn your hips. Well, so lazy.
Unfortunately, JP, you have this, and this was part of my point yesterday too when I was putting some tweets out there. There's a lot of overrated personnel on this defense, and there's a lot of guys making most of the money on this team is on that defensive side of the ball. And there's a lot of guys with a lot of zeros at the end of their cap hit. Yeah. And they're not giving you much at all right now, if anything. Nothing. They're giving you nothing. I mean, Jamel Dean, he got hurt yesterday on concussion, but on that play that he got the concussion, I mean, he was not even a factor on that Nico Collins slant. Yeah. But he gets a concussion.
He's in man right there. That's the play you get paid to make. And you just get schooled. You get schooled. And then the other Carlton Davis one. He's lined up head up on Dalton Schultz, a tight end.
Correct.
Dalton Schultz, not Jamar Chase, not an elite receiver. Dalton, and you know what he does? He runs an out route. That really complicated, really, an out route by a tight end right in front of you, who you have man-to-man, and they score a touchdown like it's taking candy from a baby. How embarrassing. How embarrassing is your play where a tight end runs an out route? Yeah. I'm going to take 5 steps and go to the right, and I'm going to beat the best corner in football. Oh, really?
Right.
Good luck with that.
And listen, I'm going to acknowledge, because someone's in the comments here saying, let's give some credit to C.J. Stroud. I give all the credit in the world to C.J. Stroud. I mean, listen, the Bucs can make it as easy as they want on all these quarterbacks. You still got to make the throws, and there were a lot of tough throws that he made. He was fantastic yesterday. So I'm not taking that away from him, but the Bucs certainly help out every quarterback they face. And when it comes to pressure, early in the game, I thought the Bucs were flying around a little bit on defense. Maybe I was missing it, but I thought I was seeing that. And they went in the half up 17-10. Todd Bowles, I think I saw the numbers. He had pressured C.J. Stroud, I think, on almost half of his dropbacks in the first half. And then the second half totally shifted from that.
They were blitzing effectively.
He blitzed him 3 times on 24 dropbacks in the second half. 3 times. That's it. And just let him just stand there.
What a brilliant move. What a brilliant move.
Well, to be fair, C.J. Stroud was still having success because he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league against pressure. So that is out there. But still, you were managing the game and you weren't allowing them to score, and then you gave them a clean pocket and you're asking your front 4 to get home. And listen, when you got a front 4 where one of the guys, part of that 4 is Joe Tryon-Shawinka, who's not a football player, the guy's just an athlete. Okay? Joe Tryon-Shawinka is not a good football player. How many times you hear his name yesterday? How many times do you ever hear his name in any game?
He's terrible.
And that's a first-round pick. He's a bust. I've seen enough. Move on.
Looks good with his shirt off, though.
Yeah, looks great with his shirt off. He's a freak athlete, but it doesn't show up on the film whatsoever. Doesn't show up in the game. I mean, that's part of the problem here with the secondary is they say it all the time. Your best coverage is a great pass rush, right? Well, the Bucs' pass rush is non-existent. It's just not there. And I told you this going into the game when everybody's like, "Oh, the Bucs are going to feast on these backups." No, they're not. They're not feasting on anybody.
feasting on him.
You can go up against Georgia's O-line. I don't think they're feasting.
No. Let me get to the comments real quick. My question for you, JP, is this. If we make a skid by, make the playoffs, how will the Glazers and Jason fire him? As much as yesterday's loss stings, we're surely not out of the playoff. Yes, you are. Wyatt, calm yourself, my friend. Don't worry. You just lost to Houston.
You're going to lose to Tennessee, too. I'm just going to say it.
You're going to get boat raced by Tennessee. The 49ers will score 50. You're awful. This team is one of the worst teams I've ever seen. They're so lucky to have won 3 games. And as the season goes on, if you haven't noticed with Todd Bowles' teams, they get worse because people get tape on them. They know what their weakness is. He has no idea how to adjust. None. And his staff is terrible. They're great people. Love them. Personally, I hate saying this against Todd Bowles. I wanted him to be successful. He's just not the guy.
No.
And at this point, he's not even a good defensive coordinator. We used to say that, those days are gone, appear to be gone as well. It's terrible. I've never seen penalties galore. I just don't know how to run a 2-minute offense.
They called the timeout. They called the timeout on the last drive, and they come out and they get a false start penalty or a legal shift or whatever it is.
On the quarterback. Oh, my God. Yeah. I got to get to all these comments, but I also have to get to a break, folks. So I'm going to get to some, though. You guys have been great commenting already. Bucs Mason said, I love what happened yesterday. It was the Todd Bowles special and should tell anyone conflicted this man is not a head coach material. He lost this game with his coaching, full stop. Yep, absolutely. That definitely appeared into my head. I said, all right, we can all just stop pretending now, and we want to be hopeful, but the dude is just not a head coach. He's just not. James says the problem has been D. Atlanta should have scored 30. Yeah, the D was supposed to be hold the fort while the offense developed. Bowles played soft zone the entire final drive. When they rushed 5, uncomfortable. Why stop? I don't know. You have something that worked. This isn't what they tend to do with it's working, so they're going to adjust. Let's do something different. You do so. You stick with it until they beat it consistently, not just once. If you throw a blitz at him and he beats it once, don't stop blitzing. It's worked the entire time because their offensive line is confused. They don't know and you're good at it. That's the only thing Devin White does well is blitz the quarterback. Why put him in coverage? He's terrible. You're just inviting he plays to his weaknesses so much instead of playing to his strengths.
Yeah, the only thing they do well as a defense is stop the run. And in the year 2023, what does that mean?
They haven't stopped the run that well. I got news for you. Against
they had it easy yesterday.
Yeah, against the Eagles, they didn't stop the run. Any team that knows how to run and block. Yesterday they were, they were down the offensive lineman, and Damian Pierce would have had 150 yards yesterday. Trust me on that. James wants to make the solution, this change now. To who? Who are you going to? Who are you going to? Just let this team embarrass themselves the rest of the way. Why change? Yeah, this is interesting. With all the great excuses that everybody get. Oh, it's not his roster. It wasn't his coaching staff last year. He did this. Oh, he was put in a bad spot. Blah blah blah. The Raiders will now have a defensive assistant coach the remainder of the season. Funny thing is, the Raiders blew out the Giants yesterday. Now that's no freaking logically. Yeah, but they had the Raiders, the Texans. They had every excuse in the book. Every excuse that we give to Todd Bowles. And guess what? They found a way to win.
The Vikings.
Josh
Dobbs just got there a day ago. He's having to teach his offensive line his cadence on the sideline.
Yeah.
And he comes in and just absolutely kills the Falcons and gets a win on the road.
Yeah. I'm tired of the excuses. I do not want to hear any of these freaking excuses. My God. It's so bad. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll get to some of your comments. Matt Matera is going to join us from the Pewter Report at 11 o'clock. We'll get his take. We'll get all your comments in the next segment. We got some callers, I believe. So lots of fun here to go on the J.P. Peterson Show. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawGroup.com. If you've been in an accident or have a hurricane claim that you need some help with, any legal work whatsoever, it's the Jeeves Law Group. They're great at everything. JEEVESLawGroup.com, and Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and his group over there will get you healthy. And we also want to thank our newest sponsor, the Geddes Gordon Group. Jane Geddes was on with us on Friday. So if you need to have anything real estate needs at all, they are the folks to go to, the Geddes Gordon Group. Back in 3. Stay with us.
coins sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at theGoldenDiamondSource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement cost, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. It will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
All right. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show on this Bitch and Moan Monday. The Bucs lose 39-37 to the hapless Houston Texans, and C.J. Stroud goes for a NFL record for rookies, 470 yards, which I believe 300 of that was after halftime. And I think they had 3 incompletions or something after halftime. Great halftime adjustments by the Buccaneers. All right, we're going to get to some of the comments on here, but we also have loaded phone lines. So let's go out to our first caller is Dusty in Auburndale, I believe this is. What's up, Dusty?
Well, I'm going to talk about that Bucs game.
Yes. You must be very upset.
Well, here's what happened now. I was watching, Dolores had gone to get some Dickies from Walmart, and so I started, I was watching the I Dream of Jeannie marathon.
You went to get your Dickies from Walmart?
Yeah, well, she's in the service.
Okay.
The postal service. So she was gone, and I was watching.
We thank her for her service, by the way. That's nice.
Yeah, I don't salute her, though, but I wouldn't do that. Anyway, I think they should fire Todd Bowles. I
agree totally, Dusty, but why do you say that? Back up your point here. Why?
Well, she went to get Dickies. Is that what you mean, back up like that?
No, Dusty. So why do you want Todd Bowles fired?
But I think it starts with that sandwich guy because he was bad as an offensive coordinator. But and maybe we go back to Bruce, Bucko Bruce, because I think he pulled that coaching team together, didn't he?
Yeah, I did. Yes,
They just didn't look like they didn't look like
Who's the sandwich guy? Who's this? Oh, Leftwich.
Yeah, is that his name?
Yeah, not sandwich.
There, sandwich. It Leftwich. He was.
Right.
They called him He was the throwing Samoan, right? He was a good quarterback, I believe.
No,
but he was not a good play caller.
No, he was not. He was not. He was terrible. But we got a new guy. He did all right yesterday. Baker played well. Baker seems like your kind of guy. He really does.
Mayfair fared badly. I mean, I don't know. It's tough following the GOATist, because he was good, that Brady guy. But I don't know. I just didn't like that game at all. I think they should get rid of him, start over, and I'll hang up and listen to it on the radio. What channel are you on?
Whoa. We're soon to be on 102.5.2, but not yet. So you got to stay on and listen. You got to stay on.
Well, you tell me what needed to be done aside from winning.
Well, it'd be nice.
Couldn't stand it.
Yeah, the defense is awful. The defense is the reason you lost the game yesterday. Todd Bowles doesn't know how to manage the game, and that's why you lost yesterday. And you want Bowles fired, so I'm guessing you agree with me.
I do, and I think we should bring people like Simeon Rice back because we needed a pass rush.
It would be nice to. Actually, Simeon Rice right now is in great shape. I guarantee you, he would give you more than JTS would. He would definitely give you. So I'd say yes. Who would be the next coach if you want to get rid of Todd Bowles? Who's the next coach?
Well, this may be unpopular, but I'll tell you what. I like that old wily John Gruden. I think it's time to go him or Tony Grungy. One of those two built that team, and I'd bring them back. I'll listen. I'll hang up and listen.
No, please don't. Did you say Tony Grungy? You did.
Is that his name?
Yeah. So it's shocking development, Dusty in Auburndale, that you like. You probably wrote some of those emails that John wrote, but no, I don't think John's coming back. I don't think he and the Glazers see very much eye to eye. I don't think that he left under trying circumstances with them. When you FU them,
what's he doing now?
He's playing a lot of golf. He's playing a lot of golf at Avila. That's about all. He's not coaching, but no, I don't think that his emails were well received within one Buck place because his name was quickly taken off the Ring of Honor. In case you did not notice that, but you probably did because you're busy.
I hadn't been to a game since they played at that big old hat, the sombrero thing.
No,
but I do make a good point here. I think that Bowles guy is not good for the future.
The Bowles. So we should be disemboweled, is what you're saying. The Bucs should be disemboweled.
Well, I mean, that's not a bad idea.
All right.
but that's all I just want. Hey, you do.
Are you an FSU guy? You sound familiar. Are you an FSU guy?
I got my mail-in degree from FSU.
Your mail-in degree from FSU? Okay, good.
Yep. Yeah.
So you're a Seminole. How'd you like their win this weekend? What? FSU are the Seminoles, not the Bulldogs.
Ferris State University is the only FSU I know there, Jay.
Ferris State University? No.
And that's where I went to college. Well, okay. I mean, I mailed it. They mailed it to me.
All right. I'm done with you. All right, Dusty.
Well,
I was entertained.
Well, I'm serious.
Yeah.
They should have fired him. They should have fired him today.
I agree with you. And replaced him with Tony Grungy. Absolutely.
I may have misappropriated his name, but he was a good coach.
He was a great coach. He's not.
Pull him out.
He's just on TV. Yeah, we can get him.
Oh, he is. Oh,
yeah.
Well, I'm glad he's still alive. That's great. Well, I'll listen to you. You boys have a good day.
Thank you, Dusty.
Okay. All right now.
Where did we get him? Where did we get him, Nick? Where did that come up?
He
just called in?
Dusty from Auburndale.
Well, that was good.
Tony Grungy.
Right. That guy sounded familiar. Let me get to some of these great comments. If you see some, you can pop them up there. I want to say hi to Will Martinez this morning, who says Bowles, with another horrific job of game planning against a rookie quarterback, ran the same super soft two shell on every play on the final drive. Where was the blitz? Bowles is a dead man walking. If you go back and look, I haven't gotten the all 22 yet, but if you go back and freeze frame, on the about the fourth, when he hits his fourth second in the pocket, and has time to throw, he's looking towards Tank Dell, who's running this corner route where, of course, they have to get out of bounds, right?
Right.
And McCollum's got, some guy in his flat. But if you freeze it in the frame, there are 5 Buccaneers, 3 of them in the middle guarding absolutely nobody. McCollum is up in the right flat. He's got a guy in front of him in Schultz. So at least he has some responsibility if CJ goes that way. But first of all, CJ's shoulders are telling you he's going down the field over your head. So you should have reacted to that, number one. But okay, I'll give Zion a pass because he's got flat responsibility at least. And then so Delaney's in the back. All he's got is Tank Dell. And when that ball is released, he should be close enough to him because that's the only person in his zone. There's 2 other receivers that are in the short zone. I can't see the other side, but there's 3 other defenders over there. So I'm hoping that that's good. Delaney has got to come up and make that play. There's only one place he's going. He's not going inside. They've got to get outside. It's like mind-boggling that these guys have no football IQ whatsoever. It's mind-boggling.
It is. It really is hard to wrap your head around. And I will say this, by the way. I was thinking about this yesterday in regards to Bowles as the head coach, and isn't it kind of funny? I don't know how many teams have done this often, and the Bucs have actually done it 3 times in the past decade or so. They've hired from within for their head coach.
Yeah.
Remember when Gruden got fired? They brought in Raheem Morris.
Yeah.
And Raheem Morris was the DB's coach, and that failed.
Yeah.
And then,
let's just be honest what that was. That was I love Raheem to death, and I think he should get another shot as a head coach.
Yeah, he's much more equipped.
But he wasn't
now
ready
than
to
then.
be a head coach. He was the
Right.
cheapest option.
Right.
And they needed a guy that they could tell what to do. And you weren't going to get any free agent money. We're going to spend $50 million on players. That's it. Because we're trying to buy Manchester United. And we need a patsy to come in here and
this is my
act
point,
like
though.
he's running the team.
So they've done it 3 times. So it was Raheem Morris, and that didn't work out. And then when Lovie Smith got fired, they brought in Dirk Cutter, the offensive coordinator, and that was a disaster. And now they've gone from Bruce Arians to Todd Bowles, and this has been a disaster. So they've done this 3 times of promoting within. Yep. And by the way, Raheem Morris at that time in his career, Dirk Cutter, and now Todd Bowles, how many teams were knocking down the door to have these guys?
Nobody.
It's not like they had just some genius laying around in their coaching staff that everybody wanted, and they were like, "We got to keep this guy as the head coach." They've done this 3 times now, and they've set themselves back years. They've set themselves back years 3 different times because of this. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, again, I don't want to go back and rehash. We've rehashed that 50 times on why he became the head coach.
Right.
But then, even after last year, you're watching what you saw last year. It was painfully obvious to anyone who was watching. Yes, I know he didn't get his offensive staff. I know he didn't get, but he also had a lot of good players. And that team was mismanaged, got worse as the season went along. Same thing that happens to every Bowles team. You couldn't look at that way that team was coached last year and go, okay, this guy has some promise. No, it was all the same stuff. You shouldn't have brought him back. You should have done a coaching search then. And started the complete rebuild, ate your cap stuff, maybe gone and tried to develop some quarterback, but you already had Trask. So, and no, we're still paying for the sins of the Tom Brady Super Bowl, which is fine. I'll trade everything we got to go through for the Tom Brady Super Bowl. I get it. Yeah. And maybe this is part of that penance as well, because we had to give Todd another year and give an opportunity. But it should be painfully obvious that we're not doing that again. Richie P says there's been some bad ones up there. Wyatt, Wyatt's comment earlier. I have to say that stretch in Gruden's last year was all we needed, was one win to make the playoffs, and then just couldn't get it. It was pretty horrendous. Talking about, is this the worst loss ever? As far as when I've been covering the team, it's definitely in the top 5.
It's up there.
Maybe in the top 3.
I will say
because
this.
of the circumstances.
I was going to say, what makes this loss different for me, like, everybody points to that Atlanta game in 2014, and they point to the Redskins game in 2015, and then when was it Mitch Trubisky who put up 48 on them in 2018?
Yeah.
Like, those losses were demoralizing. But what's different about those teams was I knew the Bucs had no hope. The Bucs were not a good football team in any of those years, and clearly they're not a good football team this year, but they have infinitely more talent on this roster than those teams did where they got absolutely blown out and it was embarrassing. Now they have talent. They have a lot of players making a lot of money. They have a lot of players who have won a Super Bowl and just went through the Tom Brady era. And we talked about it, how much we were going to benefit as from a culture standpoint and kind of not going back to being the same old Bucs like they've been for majority of their existence. And they're right back to what they are. So that's why this loss in particular and some of these from last year are so concerning, is it feels like you're past that as an organization, but clearly you're not. And that's the part that's alarming.
Yeah. There has to be some urgency to the next hire. Mario says, to be the devil's advocate, I believe, what coach would you bring in to replace Bowles? The grass is not always greener on the other side. Mario, I got to tell you, buddy.
There's a lot of young hotshot OCs out there.
Yeah.
And that's who I'm bringing in. And by the way, if anybody brings up Jim Harbaugh, please stop. There is zero, not saying he's a bad coach, but that guy has controversy all the time that follows him. The Glazers are not going down that route. Drama. No way.
Yeah, and I don't think, he will, even though it's been, 8 years since he's been in the NFL, 8, 9 years.
Yeah.
I just don't think he has become so quirky and so weird. And if you see any of his interviews, it's just that dude is not made to be a CEO of an NFL football team. He's just not. From day one, it's going to be absolutely adversarial with the press from day one. It's just you don't want any of that. He's a dinosaur. No, thank you. I think we already played that one. Yeah, we did that one. Any other comments that we need to get to? I want to get some new people in here.
Yeah, I'm rolling.
Michael Raper, Dari Gumball kicking a field goal that ended up being the difference is the most Buck thing I've ever seen.
Oh, it really is. It really is.
I mean, and the fact that they didn't even rush him. Like, please, seriously, you didn't even rush him. Go look at the tape, folks. Because I know you're worried about the fake. I get that. But you can still rush and take care of the fake in that formation that they're in. It's not they're not actually in a spread formation where you need all your guys.
Right.
You can still rush the kicker and play for a fake as well.
Yeah.
But
and by the way, I was going to put this comment up here, and not because I think there's a shot in hell this happens. Bucs Raised Bolts said, or wait.
Yeah, go ahead, pop it up.
Why won't the Bucs not give John Lynch as GM? First of all, what incentive does he have to leave San Francisco, number one?
Yeah. He's built
Number two, and this is more of an off-season thing, and I think it's a fair question. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole, but I'm just going to point it out. Is Jason Licht going to be afforded the opportunity to hire a fifth head coach? And if you look at the tenure of Jason Licht, yes, he gets credit for building a Super Bowl roster, but he was given a lifeline when his good buddy Bruce Arians decided he wanted to come out of retirement, and then obviously Tom Brady falls into your lap. He was given a lifeline there. And without those two guys in the building, Jason Licht is an under 500 general manager, and he's been here for over a decade. And he's under 500 by like 20 games or so.
And I think
his drafting hasn't been as great lately, so I think it's a fair question down the road if he's going to get another shot at that.
And I think once this year plays out and we can get a better read on all of his draft picks, like JTS has proven that he's a bust this year, we'll get a better read on a bunch of other guys. And I think we'll have a better feel for where the drafting went. And it's not going to be a pretty picture for Jason. It's not. But that Super Bowl buys you a lot. It buys you a lot. But if you're really looking to start anew, but the Glazers really believe in Jason, and he does a lot of good things. He got Bruce Arians here, so I don't know. But I think the coaching search has to begin immediately, even if you don't fire Todd Bowles. I'm not huge on firing guys mid-season.
Right. And to be honest,
Rich Bisaccia. He did a nice interim job with the Raiders last year. Seriously.
But to be
You're
honest,
going to fire Bowles.
From where they're at right now, it's not just like you got to make a change at head coach and all that. There's a lot of personnel decisions, and I think even more than maybe we thought. Like everybody's talking about Mike Evans, Devin White, got to get Wirfs and Winfield. I'm not too convinced that both those corners are going to be on this team next year. I'm just not.
Corners?
Both the corners. I don't know how in the world at this rate you can bring back both of those corners. I think one of them probably
the contracts.
Otherwise, I know the contracts,
dead
but
money, man. No.
I know the contracts, but you got two corners who have zero ball skills.
How about you get? They both have skills. How about you develop their ball skills? How about you develop some players? How about you make them better once they get here? For God's sakes, Todd Bowles was a defensive back. Where's the development of these guys been? We don't talk about player development at all.
Right, and they're now
these
like
guys
what?
Gotten any better?
They're like 6 years in their career. It's like at this point, if you had ball skills, or if you were going to develop it, I feel like it would have happened already.
Yeah, well, maybe with a better coaching staff, they would. Here's Terrence Montgomery. I believe you're new. Thank you, Terrence, for jumping in here. Davis and Dean been trashed the moment they came to the Bucs. Go look at the film the last 5 years. Continue to get burnt like toast. Technique is horrible for both of them. Can't understand why the Bucs paid them. I don't. Carlton, when he first got here, was a pretty damn good man-to-man player. He really was. And Dean has had his moments, but neither one of them have gotten any better. And they don't play to their strengths. They don't play to their strengths ever, which is bizarre. All right, let's give a quick break here. When we come back, Matt Matera from the Pewter Report is going to join us. We'll get his take on some of the mishaps from yesterday. We're also going to be talking to Kasey Hudson, who covers the Bolts for the Believe Network, and they have a big game tonight at Toronto. Khris Lugo is going to join us. Lots more coming your way in the second half of the show. Stay with us. Quick break. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com or call 813-485-6808.
Do you have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Gold and Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Gold and Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. So do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here, brought to you by the great folks at the Patio. Go watch some Monday Night Football underneath the palm trees in the beautiful outdoor space that is the Patio. We were there on Friday night. It was a great group there. Dave Canales was there hanging out. Some of the coaches were, so always good to hang out at the Patio. Go watch some football there tonight, and they'll have happy hour going. $1 off all beer and wine. They're already low prices. Best place to watch football. It's the Patio. All right, let's bring in our good friend Matt Matera from the Pewter Report, and always listening to you guys and your great podcast. So thanks for joining us here. What's up, Matty? How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much, guys, for having me on. It's an honor to be here. First time on the show.
No, well, thank you for joining. We get to see you this time, StreamYard, all the good stuff. Well, now to the bad stuff. Just give me your overall take on that debacle in Houston yesterday.
Yeah, if I had one word to describe it, it would be excruciating. I mean, finally, the offense figures it out. 37 points. If I would have told you that the Bucs would score 37 points in this game, you'd be going, all right, the offense figured it out. Dave Canales has the guys on the right track. The Bucs were tied for second in most points scored in yesterday's full slate of NFL games. Unfortunately, the team they played scored the most points. So, yeah, just a debacle on the defensive side of the football from the top down, whether it was the D-line not being able to get any pass rush or whatever was going on in the secondary. It was just excruciating from beginning, or really the last fourth quarter. Even the last minute was just excruciating.
And have you been able to put your finger on, because I don't think anybody really has, but I'll ask you your take on this, how a secondary and a defense in general with a lot of players who have played in this system for 5 years continue to have busted coverage, continue to have guys running wide open, and it's not for these guys are getting older or anything. They're actually all entering their primes, and that should tell you they should be getting better maybe, but They're regressing across the board. Have you been able to figure out why that is?
Yeah, a couple of things. What's really frustrating is even this season, and you mentioned all the veteran players on this team, all guys that were on that Super Bowl winning team in 2020, week in and week out, we hear Todd Bowles say there was a busted coverage. What happened on that 40-yard touchdown? It was a busted coverage. Well, at some point, and Todd Bowles' defense is quite complex, and that's what makes it so special. But at some point, if it's the message is not getting to the players, you have to switch it up a little bit and keep it simple, as the old saying goes. Keep it simple, stupid. So there's still miscommunication issues, and I think that has to do with just having such a complex defense. like Todd Bowles has. And also, you guys were talking about it before. Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean, and I know Dean got injured in the game, they are press man corners. They thrive in one-on-one. I remember years ago, before the big come up of the Bucs, Carlton Davis had an insane game covering DeAndre Hopkins, who he's going to be guarding against this week when they play the Tennessee Titans. That put Carlton on the map. You heard Jamar Chase say, the best cornerback I've played against is Carlton Davis. And then you play this soft tissue paper, soft zone over and over to the point where Todd Bowles said the last 2 weeks, yeah, we're really struggling in zone. So your solution is to play it more? I don't quite understand that. So I think a lot of it is just to answer your question. You're setting these guys up to fail. I know Carlton had a terrible game, but Carlton doesn't really like playing zone. So why put him in that situation?
It's a great point, Matt. And this looks like a team that has lost confidence in their coaching staff. They don't play hard. There's no accountability. And just watch their body language out there, Matt. I'm watching the tape. It's like on the throw to Tank Dell in the back of the end zone, I think their first touchdown. Carlton's, playing back, and he's just so lazy. His footwork is so lazy. And by the time he flips his hips, he almost falls on his ass, number one. Guys running by you. When you have a good receiver and a by the way, CJ Stroud can flat out spin it.
Yeah.
You can't play lazy because those balls, he gets beat by Dalton Schultz on an out route at the 5-yard line, man to man. Like, are you freaking kidding me? That's at some point, yes, the coaching is awful, but at some point the players have to be accountable, and that's just trash defense. Trash.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say, but I would say that this is really the first week where you kind of saw it a little more visibly than the past couple of weeks. Because you look at that game against Buffalo, they could have easily folded down 24-10 in the fourth quarter and just been like, all right, not our week again. Let's get to this vacation, this extra couple of days that we're going to have and have that weekend. But they continued to fight until the end, made it 24-18, and then it didn't work out on the Hail Mary. But yeah, there are times the guys just look beleaguered and kind of just putting their hands up saying, we don't know what to do anymore. To your point about Dalton Schultz, they made him look like Travis Kelce out there with all the receptions and the touchdown and all the receiving yards. So, week in and week out, Bowles says that they have a great week of practice, but for whatever reason, whatever's going on in practice is not translating to the game.
And so at this point, do you make the move? I know the Glazers have never fired a head coach during the season, and I don't know how likely it is they'll do it now. And I know sometimes, you saw the Raiders, albeit against the Giants. They have an interim head coach, and it provides a jolt to the locker room. And all of a sudden, it seems like players are playing harder and things like that. Do you make that move sooner rather than later with Harold Goodwin and give yourself a chance there, or do you ride this out with Bowles?
It's a little bit of a tricky situation. I think you kind of got to let Todd fall on his sword, because if you are going to fire him at the end of the season and you've already lost 4 in a row, the next 2 weeks will be very telling, because as bad as it's been, and they've lost 4 in a row, it's been absolutely terrible. They haven't won in over a month since coming back from the bye either. With all that said, there's still technically only 2 games out of the NFC South, and the Saints, who are in first, they hold that tiebreaker against the Saints, and they play them again. So the reason why I say that it's a little tricky is because if they end up losing to the Titans and end up getting smoked by the 49ers, I think you have every right. Yeah, it is going to happen. By the way, the Texans, half of their coaching staff comes from San Fran. So is it a shocker that they scored 39 points? Not so much.
No.
But I think you got to see how these next 2 games go. If they lose the next 2, especially to another rookie in Will Levis, and then get smoked by the 49ers, you're talking about 6 losses in a row? Then you got to look at the standings again, because if there's still only 2 games out, then you could have a Raiders effect. If you end up letting go of Todd Bowles, it sparks the team. Then you go on this winning streak when you still have to play the Saints and the Falcons. But if they keep dropping down in the division and it's not even close, you're not even thinking about playoff contention, then I think you let Bowles kind of ride the season out. If you want to let him go week 17 or week 18, that makes a ton of sense. But the next 2 weeks, I think, really will decide the fate of Todd Bowles.
Matt Matera joining us here from Pewter Report. Check out all their podcasts and great coverage at pewterreport.com. The game management stuff that we saw was horrible last year, continues to be horrible this year. It's like he's coaching in 1985, man. 2 weeks in a row, he takes 3 timeouts to halftime. I don't know what he's cobbling them together like a squirrel getting ready for winter. I don't know, like you can get an extra possession if you use your timeouts wisely. in the final 5 minutes of the first half. Everybody knows this. He made a couple of good fourth down calls yesterday, which I liked.
Yeah.
And I think they were appropriate. So let's give him credit there if those were his calls. But the game mismanagement and the clock, not taking the timeout or not taking the 10-second runoff. I mean, these are basic mistakes that were, they had no field goal kicker. You don't even rush from the outside against Dari. Like, what are you doing? Like, whose idea was that? He hits a line drive kick on a kickoff, and you're saying, I don't want to catch it. I'm not going to return this ball. I mean, there's so many just little details that they're never on. I mean, never on. It's all the penalties. It's such a, when you see all this, you always go, oh, this is a poorly coached team. There's so much evidence that it's such a poorly coached team. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. And the evidence is building week in and week out.
Right.
I almost feel like Bowles flips a coin and decides, all right, today I'm going to be aggressive, or today I'm going to be passive. I mean, you can track this all the way back to week 1. We loved that Bowles decided that the offense should go for it late in the game.
Yes.
And Baker hits that pass to Chris Godwin, ices the game out. Same thing in New Orleans. And then all of a sudden, he goes for it at midfield against the Falcons on the first drive of the game. They don't get it, and the Falcons drive down the field, and they're automatically up 7-0. But then you're not going for it on 4th and 1 against Buffalo or certain situations. The time management is driving many people crazy. Let's remember, Todd Bowles has been a head coach before with the Jets, and time management and in-game situations were a lot of the big reasons why Todd Bowles was fired in the first place. So you can look at this last game, keeping the timeouts in the first half, the debacle at the end with Palmer fumbling and Evans recovering, and would you rather have 49? Yeah, like you can still have 39 seconds and a timeout, but no, you're gonna call the timeout right away. And listen, at the end of the day, the defense has to stop the Texans' offense with 46 seconds to go. But you would have at least put yourself in a situation where you're either kicking the game-tying field goal and they don't have time to go back down the field and you go to overtime, or you score that touchdown with about 15 seconds left and you force the Texans to call those timeouts if they want to, or you have less time. So week in and week out, it's a flip of the coin. It's whatever Bowles feels like when he wakes up that day.
Yeah. And on the offense, I mean, they scored 37 points. You score with under 50 seconds. You should win that football game. But it is notable. I still think there was things that still, make you kind of rip your hair out a little bit. And it mostly comes down to personnel and who's being, who we're trying to get the ball to. And it seems like they still have no idea how to get Mike Evans and Chris Godwin involved. Like maybe 1 week it's Chris and it's not Mike. And 1 week maybe it's Mike and it's not Chris. And then yesterday, for a large part of that game, it was neither of them. In fact, at one point I looked, Keyshawn Vaughn had touched the ball more than Mike and Chris. I mean, you're just giving up plays, apparently, every time you give Keyshawn Vaughn the ball. I mean, how sustainable is this offense, you think? I mean, they scored 37 yesterday. The Texans were injured. Their secondary is not great. And K. Dotton came to play. How often is that going to happen? I mean, you have to find a way to get these guys the ball, right? I mean, considering that every other team in the league has great receivers and they're going to throw it to them, they seem to have no problem doing it, but this team can't.
Exactly. And that's what frustrates me the most. And we've heard the coaches say week in and week out, like, oh, teams double team Mike. And when they take away Mike, you got to find other options. Mike Evans, newsflash, is not the only great receiver in the league. Like Tyreek Hill is pretty damn good. Justin Jefferson is pretty damn good when he's healthy and available. Stephon Diggs. Week in and week out, we see, and I'm not saying that Mike needs like manufactured touches, but we see all those other receivers that I just mentioned get featured in their offense constantly, play after play, drive after drive. And with Mike, and I'm not blaming Mike necessarily, but with Mike, it just feels like, okay, he'll get you the one big play like he did in yesterday's game with the deep shot down the field, put them at the 1 yard line. But after that, it's few and far between that Mike is really getting involved. Chris Godwin had 2 catches for 14 yards or whatever it was yesterday. On the flip side, this was one of the first games where you really had a third option just moving the football, whether it was Rachaad White, who ran it a lot better.
It was awesome yesterday.
Continues to be great as a receiver as well. And K. Dotton pitched in. The problem is the Bucs haven't had a consistent third option. White is emerging as that receiver. He's kind of turned into like Alvin Kamara in terms of running okay, and then just dump the ball off to him every single time. But can you get that consistently? I don't necessarily know. This offense has ran around Mike and Chris, and yet they're not really getting them as involved as I think they really should be. And I think that's why they've had really a ton of struggles up until yesterday's game.
Maddie, we talked about the offense was great yesterday, so we'll do some positives here. And you mentioned Rashad White. I think Aaron Stinney has done a great job. If you looked at the film last week, he was moving people. Another bad decision to put Matt Filer in there. I don't even know why they went and got that guy. They probably need to make some other changes. And D. Delaney played a lot yesterday. We've been talking a lot to get him more, and he didn't play well, by the way. So any personnel changes that you see moving forward?
Good question. I think permanently Aaron Stinney should stay as the starting
question.
guard, even when Matt Filer is healthy. He helps a lot in that screen game too. Just the fact that he's able to move down the field. And again, we've already talked about how great Rashad White has been. I think D. Delaney should play, even though he struggled. The whole secondary struggled. Let's be honest. I think he should. Don't just put him in on third down. Put him in on first and second down as well. Let him play with the starting defense, because again, no one else in the secondary is getting turnovers besides, Christian Izzy with 2 interceptions in the first 2 games of the season. So really just permanently putting Stinney and D. Delaney in their respective starting spots. That would probably be the biggest changes that I think you would see. And I don't know. I would like to see a little bit more of like Yaya Diaby or even Anthony Nelson, because they're just not getting anything from the outside linebackers. Shaq shows up 1 or 2 plays a game. We knocked the football out, but it's been so inconsistent, just pressure from the outside. And it's no secret that Vita Vea once again leads the team in sacks. And, Kalijah Cansey got one of their 3 sacks yesterday. So I think Chase needs to be made at outside linebacker too.
Agreed. All right, Matty, great stuff. Tell the folks how they can get all your great content this week at Pewter Report. You'll be doing a podcast today, I believe, right?
Yeah, we do a podcast 4 times a week. You can check it out on our YouTube channel, Pewter Report TV. Follow us at Pewter Report. My personal account is at Matty, the number 4 _ Matera, Matera. Thank you guys so much for having me on. Really appreciate it.
You're awesome, buddy.
Thanks,
as
Matt.
always. Great podcast, too. Everybody go check that out. Great game day stuff as well. All right, let's just flip it right over and welcome in our good friend Kasey Hudson, who covers the Bolts for the Believe Network. Also does some betting stuff as well. What's up, Kasey? Good morning to you. I know you were watching a little bit of what happened over this weekend. Any thoughts on the Bucs, or did you go play golf? Be a much smarter idea.
My mental health won't let me watch that team anymore right now.
Smart. You're so smart.
I'd rather be on the golf course, or I horseback ride a lot. So I'm not watching.
It was a beautiful day for any of that yesterday. What a waste to watch the fucking.
Exactly. And the worst part about it is when everyone asked me all week, can the Bucs cover? Will they bounce back? Yes. And I even predicted the fact that it'd be K. Dotton who would have the larger performance, because tight ends have had the most successful amount of yards versus the Texans. And then this defense, I was like, how could you not? K. Dotton, this Bucs defense, and then that happened. I got 1 notification and I decided no more.
No. Well, I took K. Dotton over his 25 yards. I think that was easy money. And I took Dalton Schultz too. I took him over like he crossed that in the first quarter. I'm like, yeah, that was easy money. Yeah, the Bucs props are easy. I need to give out more of those on the air. All right, let's talk some hockey. Great win for the Bolts on Saturday night. Didn't get to watch the game in full, but watched the highlights. And boy, Kucherov was fantastic. 5 points, his 4th, I think, career game with 5 points or more. Mm-hmm. What he just took over the game. What did you see?
Oh my gosh. Well, Nikita Kucherov is that guy always. I kind of gave him a hard time the other week because while we sit here and kind of point fingers at Mikhail Sergachev for giving away the puck, Kuch was kind of leading in that category. So I was like, it's fantastic that you'd have takeaways, but you can't give away an equivalence. So I loved being able to eat my words on that one. Not to mention is that the lines really shuffled up heading into this matchup, which was very necessary. We know Coach Cooper is brilliant when it comes to that. But then a little way through the first period, you started to see the reunion of Hagel, Point, and Kucherov. And I think that confidence just allowed Kuch to completely commit to his game and open up. I think that was a big factor there. Through 40 minutes, Hagel, Point, and Kucherov had 8+ scoring chances. They were posting the most shots on goal. And, of course, because Kucherov as well as Point, they were able to tally the most goals for the night. So I think those line changes, we talked about it last week, it's just finding the identity with this new roster. And we're seeing bits and pieces coming together at the right time. And Kuch is on track to surpass the stats that he put up last year. And you're talking about a guy who had 80+ assists. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they're scoring enough goals, obviously, to win most of these games, but I think giving up goals has still been a problem, and we're not even really putting it on the goaltending. Obviously, we know new defensive structure. Nick Perbix, who hasn't looked anything like last year's Nick Perbix, he was a healthy scratch against Ottawa, and they still gave up 4 goals. I mean, what are you seeing right now with those defensive pairings and what they can do to try to get better there?
I think as much as I was on the Perbix train, that was a necessary move. It's really weird to see some of the digression that he's made. And this offseason, I thought that he made the right steps to come back even stronger. He had a great performance with Team USA overseas. And now it just seems like he's struggling quite a bit, no matter who they pair him with. So I think right now, because of kind of the newbie between the pipes for them, having more of an experienced defenseman back there has aided their better performances. So Bogosian getting that tap on the shoulder to Han's been fantastic. I don't know if anyone's giving him enough credit for how well and how stout he's played back there, but he's been a nice quality stay-at-home defenseman for this team that kind of lacked that presence since McDonough. He's not McDonough by any means, but he's been extremely helpful. He was paired with Bogosian in this last game, and I think that it worked out very well. Perbix just kind of looked like he took a step back in terms of his confidence. He still has that composure, but it tends to be a little lax. A lot of pucks are coming off of his stick, creating chances for the opposing team, and they just can't afford to do that. As you said, they're scoring, but you can't give up as many goals as you're posting yourself, or else you're always going to be in a shootout position.
Kasey Hudson joining us here. We kind of missed the whole Braden Point thing in the beginning, or I did, because of Kucha's performance, but he gets 3 goals and is heating up, and 51 last year. Can he get there again? I think he can. But it's just good to see him start filling up the net a little bit. And I sometimes I feel like I want to say loses confidence, but when he plays with confidence, he's such a game wrecker. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, actually, I think I would add to that and say versus confidence, I put swagger on it.
Yeah,
when you see Braden Point kind of like really tap into his swag, you're seeing a whole different guy. So it took, quarter point of the season when we saw him completely move the puck through 3 different defensemen and score. And we finally saw a little emotion out of him. You don't really see it. And then he kind of builds off of that. It snowballs. So I totally agree with you. Once he starts kind of like letting his swagger flag fly, we're talking about a completely different caliber of a player there. So coming off of a hat trick, I mean, listen to his responses after. He's still so humble about the team versus like what he did specifically. And I know hockey is a we sport versus individual, but that humility alone is why I think he can hit 50 goals again. And the best part about it is the workload here. We're seeing other guys getting goals and other guys participating. So I think that pressure of it not having to be Braden Point getting the goal also kind of lets him feel like, all right, I can just kind of like go here. And that his natural ability just comes through as well. Like, I think that Pointer as well as Kucherov have the best supporting cast here for them to just take their game to like 10% of the next level.
Where do you see Tyler Mott fitting in? It sounds like he might make his debut tonight in Toronto.
Oh, I'm excited for Tyler Mott. I was devastated when he ended up getting hurt in that first game. When they ended up getting this steal of a trade, the first thing that came to mind when I started researching him was his shots. I think we did talk about this a little bit. The amount of shots that Mott posts, and again, the supporting cast to superstars like Braden Point and Nikita Kucherov. Now, obviously, I think he's going to be one of those bottom 6 guys, probably coming in on that 4th line, to be honest. But you're talking about somebody who's not just a physical presence on the 4th line, but somebody who shoots the puck a lot. I think he had 184, 89 shots last season. Mind you, he didn't play anywhere close to like 70 or 80 games. 109 of those shots were on goal, which is, not something that you hear of quite often when it comes to players pushing pucks forward, especially this Maple Leafs team that we'll talk about shortly. So Mott's going to help get the puck shooting forward, staying in constant motion ahead of him, which will be very helpful if he is indeed in the lineup. Is a physical presence. I mean, this is a guy who's posted 200 hits, in a season beforehand. But if he comes in on that Jeannot and Glendening line, I think that'll be tremendous. Jeannot has been fabulous.
Yeah.
He, of course, always leads when it comes to hits, but, he's somebody too. If you get the right shot off to him, he's not afraid to put it on goal. So you're going to look at a little bit more versatility and more help from that 4th line. And getting those bottom 6 guys was a huge point of emphasis heading into this season so that, the other guys can breathe. It wasn't just about that top line scoring.
Yeah, that line will be heavy, and it will. And I think Cooper loves that. He loves to be able to find a line that can kind of tilt the ice and then bring his other guys behind it. And it just he seems to be able to get the momentum going for his team. So we'll see how that works. And so he'll play tonight, hopefully, in a game against Toronto that, I'm not going to sit here and say it's a must win, but just for the psyche of this team, for God's sakes. I mean, Toronto is in their head. They need to come out and win this game and just give it a little bit of payback. Otherwise, it's just, if they lose in overtime again. The last game, we were sitting there up 3-1 in the third. I'm talking to Dave Anderchuk, and I'm like, dude, if we lose this game in overtime, and I said, I can't even fathom that. And he's like, shut up. Don't even say that. And then there we are at the end, and then we go to overtime, and we're both just going, "Oh my God, this is not going to happen again." It did.
It's disturbing. Like, rent-free situations are probably the worst situations you can be in. And that was such a winnable game in so many ways. And then to have this whole hey, they're so unbeatable on home ice, like. Every box that would check in favor of the Bolts checked, and they still gave that game to the Maple Leafs. So for me, it's a must win because it's the monkey off the back situation. They have to know that they can beat this team. Like the way playoffs went down was just terrible. So I guess probably a highlight here is like the way they opened up playoffs and the way they played that first game at in Toronto.
Yeah.
They can kind of feed off of that because that was a fabulous game to watch. But they have to beat these guys. And the Toronto Maple Leafs aren't even doing that great right now. They're letting up the same amount of goals as the Bolts. And you're talking about one of their starting guys who, they have experience with versus a team that's, with a new guy. But also, if it's not the Austin Matthews show or Nylander is probably the next top guy up there, who is it? They're still trying to figure out their deep pairings. They're benching Ryan Reeves here and there. Somebody investment into, not significant, but still, thought was going to be an ice tilter for this team. And really, he just comes out there to drop the gloves. I don't know what he's done besides post a couple of fights, but there's so many distractions with Toronto. Like the Bolts have to come in there and just have like a clean execution. It's so possible for them. I would be really upset if they lost another game to Toronto.
And just to you mentioned the overtime struggles a little bit there. And, for the life of me, we can't figure it out. We can't touch the puck in overtime. and Cooper, he put out Glendening out there to win a face-off, and he doesn't win the face-off. And I feel like it's concerning is the Atlantic's going to be a lot tighter as we continue to go on this season. You got a lot of improved teams, and to continue to just allow teams to take that extra point, I have to think, that might end up coming down to the wire there a little bit. I mean, what do you make? I mean, is it in their head at this point? What do you make of everything that's going on there?
I feel like it's an in the head thing. When you've got a guy like Brandon Hagel after an overtime loss, just chalk it up to we're cursed. That just tells you how mental it is. He didn't even want to try to go into any semantics of what could possibly be, what else could be going on. It was just like we're cursed. Like if he could have cursed in that moment to emphasize the curse, he would have. I think it's just something that they have to shake off. They've got to get that good touch right away. I don't remember who said it, JP. I think you mentioned it though, how some teams they'll bring in that face-off guy to get the job done.
Yeah.
Yes, I get that, but I think Nick Paul or Anthony Cirelli are one of the top two guys leading in the face-off circle right now. So it's just kind of finding the person that can carry the consistency from regulation to overtime. But
I think you have a better player on the ice too at that particular point.
Exactly. Someone with strong forechecking ability as well as the ability to score. So maybe you don't need just the face-off guy. You kind of need that versatile guy. You pull a guy like Anthony Cirelli from being a wing player, you turn him into this fantastic two-way center. The trust has to be there. So I think that all kind of goes into the chemistry of what draws from regulation into overtime without overthinking it. This team, when they start overthinking things, that's when we just start seeing the worst of them. So I think they need to dial it back when it comes to overtime. And remember, they were one of the best overtime teams.
They were.
Nobody wanted to go to overtime.
Exactly. Remember those days?
Exactly.
Wasn't that long ago. It was an automatic win. It was an automatic win. Oh, 3 on the ice. We're going to put our guys out there. It's done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then teams started to hold the puck more, and it became this slow down thing. Overtime for the first couple of years was fantastic, and now, of course, the coaches ruin everything. So now it's almost like hold for the last shot. Which is just awful.
We wish we would just go anyway, but
yeah, right. Put a shot clock on it,
please. Something. Some of the changes that I think that we saw out there is and maybe because it takes a minute for a guy like Victor Hedman to be Victor Hedman, but the first three guys they're kind of throwing out there, I kind of tilted my head to sometimes.
Yeah.
Like Hedman is a great anchor that should kind of always be a go. He had a really good game versus the Blue Jackets, even though that result was awful. And he's played well on the road. He's been a huge factor for them on the road, I would say.
Yeah.
But it comes down to an overtime situation. Like Hedman needs to be out there. A strong two-way guy like Sorelli needs to be out there. Your go-to scorer like Cooch or Point needs to be out there. Yeah,
Hedman,
so like
Cooch, Sorelli. Yeah, that
I would
sounds
love
good. Yeah,
I would love it.
yeah.
Brandon Hagel still gets a little cute sometimes in overtime with some of his passing. And I think it's because I don't know why. I really don't know why. But you have certain guys who come out there and don't really put their brain on and say, let's not be cute about this. Let's be sterile about it. Like let's be really like clean and cut, and he doesn't do that. I love him.
If there's one strategic thing I've seen, and I would agree with you, that's it. We don't value the puck in overtime like other teams do. Like we make, drop passes and not in overtime. Like you can't be doing that.
Oh my gosh, no.
Tape to tape, see your guy, keep it simple, get your chances, and then, make them count. But no, we're so flippant with the puck in overtime. It's like ridiculous.
I couldn't agree more. I don't remember which game it was. It was one of the obvious breathtaking overtime losses that we had, and everyone's like, "Oh, it was Sergachev. It came off Sergey." And I was like, "Well, first of all, Sergey wasn't on the ice. Second of all, Kucherov is the stick that it came off of, and that all transpired from a no look pass that Brandon to who in overtime and why." I don't want to point fingers, but everybody has to have their accountability so that doesn't translate to the next overtime situation. And that's been the problem. Like you're just seeing unnecessary things in overtime.
Agreed.
And it starts in the circle as well. So hopefully this is not an overtime game, guys, because again, my mental health is staying to do other things.
You can't, my heart can't take that.
No.
Great stuff, Kasey. As always, tell the folks how they can find all your great content.
Over at The Sports Case, Kase. Casing the League, I'll have a new episode that drops things to consider today, which is just, all the matchup information as well as best bets. Nikita Kucherov, Tyler Mott, if he is in the lineup, grab him for shots over, Kucherov for points, and Mikey Asimont for points as well. He's somebody who's continuing to build very nicely. He was my lookout player of the season before we got started. So, yeah.
Nice. And he's had a great year so far. All right, Kasey, great stuff. Thank you so much. See you next week.
See you guys.
All right. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, more of your comments on this Bucs debacle. We might get to the Todd Bowles interview just for the hilarity of it all. Chris Lugo is going to join us as well. If you have any questions for the doc, throw them in there as well. If you're nutrition, COVID, the bugs that are going around, all kinds of stuff, weight loss, which we're going to talk a little bit about as well. That's coming up next. I want to remind you, Monday Night Football at the patio tonight. They will have $1 off all beer and wine. They're already low prices. Great atmosphere. Boy, they had a packed weekend there, and you know why. The weather is great. Great place to watch games. 421 South McDill. We'll be there again Friday night for our Friday night happy hours to come down and say hello and jump on the show with us with our fan mic. Having a great time out there every Friday from 5 to 7 o'clock. Back in 3. Stay with us. All fall is here. The holidays are coming, and the Golden Diamond Source will be your trusted jewelry destination as they have been for the past 4 decades. Yes, the Golden Diamond Source has the largest selection of engagement rings in the country, a literal jewelry supercenter with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. You don't have to spend any extra time waiting for them to have to bring something in or order something. Everything is in-house. And if you want to get shopping before the holidays, you can get low financing, start early, for up to 5 years. Looking for a pre-owned Rolex or one of those baller watches? They have a huge selection at the Golden and Diamond Source, so go check those out as well. And of course, we always say keep it local. Great philanthropists, Julie and Steve Weintraub. Love those folks. Do so much for the community. So if you got to shop for jewelry, why not shop at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz, the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Gold and Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Gold and Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here from my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here, brought to you by The Patio, the best place to watch Monday Night Football tonight. Go check it out. Under the Stars. Great staff over there, good folks. They were packed all week. They had the Bills game on Sunday night, so always a great place to hang out. 421 South McDill. It's The Patio under the palm trees and the stars. It'll be fun tonight. Good weather, too.
What are you wearing?
I can't show you that.
I thought it's, hold on. I thought it said I thought that was an NY. I thought it said I love New York. I'm like, please, JP, don't be going heel on us here.
It's a shirt my girlfriend gave me.
All right, well, we're good there. I just thought it said, I thought that was nice.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Just wanted to make sure we weren't losing the plot there.
Oh, my God, no. I used to love New York. New York was awesome. I'd take my daughter up there for Broadway, and we'd go see a few shows. It's fantastic. They had it so dialed in. Really, really good tourist place, and destroyed. Just like San Francisco, Chicago, the great cities of America that were once great places to visit. Yeah.
I just hate big cities.
When they're run correctly, I
just like my little, Tampa's like the perfect size. Like I'm a Tampa stan, I guess. It's the perfect size.
Yeah. No, it is. But even, we're getting a little too big now.
Yes. No kidding.
If you ask me, stop coming, people. want to talk a little college football. Khris Lugo will join here in a little bit. Khris, I can't, for some reason, your video is not up. I see he's popped in, but I'm not sure if he's ready to jump on. There you are. So let me know when you're ready. Little college football talk. Florida State survives 24-7 at Pitt. No Johnny Wilson, no Keon Coleman. They were just searching for places to go with the football. They finally got it going in the second half, but their defense gave up a touchdown early and then locked it down. Their defense has been really, really good lately, and I trashed them earlier in the year, but the last month and a half, they have been freaking fantastic. So now they'll face a Miami team that got beat by NC State 20-6. Miami is not good. I told you they were a fraud earlier in the season. They're a fraud. They did beat A&M, though. I'm starting to wonder, how good are these SEC teams?
The SEC is very top heavy. Very top heavy.
Yeah.
The ACC has a really good, out of conference record. I think they have the best out of conference record of any Power Five or what do you call it, of the Big Five.
Yeah, P5. Yeah,
P5,
it's really weird if you start looking at the out of conference games. Like FSU beat LSU, and North Carolina beat South Carolina. I'm trying to remember back. Yeah,
Clemson just beat Notre Dame.
Yeah,
I know they're independent, but
yeah, it's interesting. And when we get to the playoff, it's going to be even more interesting and see what Florida State does against Florida at the end of the year.
Yeah, they better not drop FSU out of 4 tomorrow. I have a feeling it might happen. But because, they're going to be so unimpressed with the victory. But you know what? As quote-unquote unimpressive as they've looked lately, I guess if you want to go there, they're winning all these games by 3 scores plus.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, isn't that what matters?
Yes. That's what matters. It's point differential. And, it also matters who you play. And Michigan has played nobody. I think the Big Ten is a huge fraud this year. Ohio State's offense is awful when they play a decent team. So I don't know. There's much to be learned about these teams. We shouldn't be saying this 9 weeks in.
I just feel like Washington, they might jump Florida State tomorrow because everybody's going to look at what they did to USC and what they beat Oregon and all that. But their defense is non-existent. I think they would get handled by at least Georgia. I think would handle them with ease because they're not scoring 40 plus on Georgia. That ain't happening. I don't think they're doing it on Michigan. They're not doing it on Ohio State. I think Florida State's defense has been really good lately.
Yeah.
They still have their moments that don't impress me. So maybe Washington would have success against Florida State, but I don't think they're a playoff team. I think Oregon, if they got them back at it again, I think Oregon would beat them.
Well, I think they're gonna play again, right?
They should play at the end, and I think Oregon's got a good route.
Yeah, no, I agree. If Oregon has one loss of the way they're playing, and they beat Washington, I think they're in.
Yeah. Let's talk about Florida.
Yeah, let's talk about Florida.
Man, I've been preaching patience, and I'm still preaching patience, but game like that.
This would be a good time to bring Khris Lugo in, our
probably
Gator fan.
Yeah, let me pull him in here real quick.
He's texting me at the end of the game.
I just, this is the game you had to have if you're going to get bowl eligible because they got to play LSU, Missouri, and Florida State to end, and you got to find a win there. And Billy Napier was atrocious in this game. He was about in-game. He pulled the Todd Bowles in this game. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've been trying to talk. I'm like, no, give him some time. I'm like, that was bad. That was Bowles-esque game management. Yeah. Well, especially at the end of the game there, right, Khris? They were lining up for what, a 39-yard field goal, or going to have one at the worst, and they get a penalty, backs them up 5 yards, and the kid barely misses it. And that from 39, that's good.
Correct. Yeah, that was little. That's what I've been preaching about the whole entire time. I told you. I was texting you. I was like, they deserve to lose this game because they're playing atrocious. Like Arkansas deserved that.
Yeah, they come in 2-6, have not won an SEC game, fire their offensive coordinator, his first game calling plays, and they go for 450 yards, have a comeback. Man, bad tackling, that was an ugly finish to that game.
It was like watching a Buccaneer game. The tackling was horrific.
If you're a Gator and a Buccaneer fan, as you are.
We were playing tackle football last time I checked.
Where do you go in the medicine cabinet after a weekend like that for you? There's not enough IVs and antidepressants to pull you out of that weekend, bro.
Alka-Seltzer. I don't know. It was bad.
Yeah, the medicine's right there on my cabinet. If you could see it on the top shelf right there.
Is that the Tums?
No, that's the there's the bourbon collection that I'm starting right now. I think that's the medicine after a weekend like that. At least it was for me yesterday after the Bucs game.
So the next day you got to wake up and you feel like garbage.
Correct.
So are you all out? You can't fire him now. You got to at least have him bring in the recruiting class.
Well, you're the one that says you got to finish out the contract. So I guess he's going to finish out the contract. I don't know. I just don't see a whole bunch of Gator boosters giving him a lot of leeway at this point.
I don't either.
Not when you throw a game like that. Not when it's in your grasp and you're kicking a field goal to win the game with few seconds left, and you'll lose the game in overtime. So,
yeah. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, as an FSU fan, I like seeing new coaches come in every 3 years, 2 years, because that revolving door never works either. But you got to, if you're not, you got to, like, we had to get rid of Willie. But is he getting to Willie? Like Willie Taggart? Is it that bad? I mean,
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, because like Willie recruited like that.
Yeah, Willie never recruited like that. He never had a top 5 class. He's got this class coming in. I just feel like I remember people were saying get rid of Norvell middle of year 2 as well. And I'm like, no, hold. There's some good things going on. He's taking out the trash. He's getting rid of the guys that don't need to be there. We see positives. The team is fighting. It's not quitting anymore. That was the number one thing that I saw in year 2 of the FSU. Was like, okay, they're not quitting anymore. They were quitting so it's bad. So you saw a little fight in the team, and you like the things he was saying. But, I mean, then it was Jacksonville State, and you're like, oh, my God. How do you lose to Jacksonville State?
The recruiting class looks really good, but today's day and age, those guys could leave tomorrow if they want to and go somewhere else.
Yeah. No, that's true.
20 years ago.
Yeah, you can't, get them on campus. Yeah.
Come play with us. We're better than Florida. You're going to be on a shitty team for your 4 years. You really want to do that. You're not going to be able to play on Sundays if you can stay with this team. So,
yeah,
they could easily get plucked.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And to bring in a guy, who knows who the next guy is, right? Bring in a guy with energy. Hell, go get Dion. He might be available.
Yeah, he might. Who knows?
I don't know who wants him at the moment, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's bad. That's a bad look in a lot of different ways. All right, so what's going on in the medical world these days? By the way, I'm on the semaglutide. Am I saying that correctly?
You're on terzepatide. You're on Mounjaro. You're not on Ozempic, because everyone just says semaglutide because it's like saying Kleenex.
Right.
But yeah, terzepatide, Mounjaro, the better one out. It's a combination therapy. It works better, lower doses, less side effects compared to semaglutide, Ozempic. Yeah,
so it's working. It's slow but steady. I think I'm down now 6 pounds, 5-6 pounds. So I'm feeling good. I don't, the appetite is not what it used to be. So it's a little easier to fast, which I'm trying to get the fast going 2 or 3 times a week. So reports are good. I feel good. So,
but you said the key words. The key words is slow and steady. We want methodical weight loss. We don't want fast and furious. That does not help your body. Right. It's the lifestyle change. That's what we're looking for. And that's what a lot of people get frustrated in, especially Americans. They want that instant gratification. I want to be a size 2 tomorrow, and that's not going to happen. Your body won't like that happening either. The weight didn't come on overnight. It's not going away overnight. I didn't wake up bald this morning. It's been slow and steady as 3 years. So it's one of those things that you got to keep the eye on the prize, and that's the big thing.
Nick, you have anything for the doc this week? Any horrible nutrition stories you want to share with him?
I had a stomach virus this week, actually. So I did have a horrible nutrition story, but
Was that brought on by bad eating, or you think it was a bug? Is there a bug? I think there is a bug going around, right? A stomach bug?
It's the school thing. Somebody got it in Kasey's class and brought it in the house, and this is the second stomach bug now that I've had in 2 months. And she's taken the new. She got on the last time we talked, and I asked you what she could take. She's on that right now, and she's been using it, and she didn't get sick, but I got very sick and didn't have the best week. So I'm trying to catch up. I haven't really been eating much the last few days.
Ooh, not good. Yeah, you got to feed that gut. Right. That's the key there.
Trying to figure out the best thing, I guess, to eat. I guess when I'm trying to come out of this a little bit, because I don't want to. I'm trying not to get anything like big right now in my stomach.
Yeah, that's where you go to that old school brat diet, stuff. I think it's bland at this point in time to kind of get things go back up and running again. But eventually you want to start, getting more protein, and, got to start exercising again too. It is the key, as stupid as it sounds. And people are like, oh, come on, really? I'm like, yeah, really. It's that simple. It's Occam's razor. It's the simplest answer. No one wants to address it though.
What are the good now? What things should he be eating? Yogurt?
Yeah, right now I'll be getting some yogurts, some cruciferous vegetables in there. That's going to help out tremendously too. And then when that starts tolerating, then you get the fermented foods in there, the sauerkraut, the kefir, however you want to pronounce it. Those will start helping out that gut too. But you got to have a good, happy, healthy gut. And I love the bourbon collection, but it's one of those things. It's not 4 glasses. It's not it's one glass of bourbon and enjoying it, not going through a whole entire bottle.
Trust me, Chris. It is there for one purpose, and that is when the Bucs or UCF cause me pain.
Win the championship.
Not really.
Well, UCF got their first. They got their first win.
They beat Cincinnati. That's not a Big 12 win.
I guess that's true, right? That's still like an old conference win.
You don't get points for that from me.
Okay, that's fine. All right. Anything else going on, Chris? We need to hit.
No, that's the big thing. Weight loss is still everyone's getting prepped for the holidays here. I get a few people getting a little scared because they feel like they're going to go back and revert to their old ways. And I'm like, well, we got good, new, happy, healthy lifestyle going on. Just you're going to fall off the bus, get back on the wagon. Don't forget. Yeah,
make it quick. All right, how can they get in touch with you?
Best ways website, BAMMC.com. Get there, book an appointment. You can always call the office too. 844-789-2266.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Have a great week.
Have a great one.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
All right, we got a few minutes left here to get into a couple other news and notes here.
I did want to, because we were on the subject of college football. I feel like USF should get a
yeah, absolutely. I want to hit them as well.
Hit USF because they lost that football game to Memphis, and it sucks because they scored 50 points, and you think you should win those games, but they gave up 59 to Memphis, which is one of the best teams in the American this year. But the offense I told you was going to be really, really good, and I told you Byron Brown is that guy, and he's a good building block for this program, and you've got him, I think, at least for 2 more years if he stays all 4. I know you think that he might be a classic portal candidate, but
isn't he?
Yeah, he could be.
There are Power 5 teams salivating over this guy, and when USF fans are coming at me for that, I'm like, listen, I'm not saying anything that he isn't thinking about, that people around him aren't saying. I mean, if Florida State comes to you and now they've got some guys in the pipeline, I don't think they're going to be very active in the quarterback portal. But they could be. They could look at Byram and say, damn, look at this kid. He can do it. He can spin it. He can run it. He's a great kid on and off the field. I mean, you would want him leading your team. And if not Florida State, there's going to be a couple of other Power 5 teams that are coming after him with big NIL money, by the way. And this is where USF, I think, really needs to pick it up. From what I've heard, their NIL is not great. So, I mean, they're spending a lot of money on the facilities.
We'll try to work on this. Maybe we can get him on Friday. But Will Turner, he used to cover, obviously USF for 24/7, and he's part of their NIL, running the NIL part there at USF. So I'm going to try to see if we can get him on the show to kind of tell us where they're at from that standpoint.
Yes. All right, let's do that, because I know they need some help in that area. And, they're going to – this is what it's going to be tough for USF. I mean, when you get a good coach or you get a good, get some good players, you're constantly going to get picked off, and it's hard now with retention, and you got to create an atmosphere where guys really want to stay. Not saying they're not, but the money is going to be part of that. It's going to be a big part of it. So, your donors are giving money to build a stadium and build the facilities. Some of that money needs to be funneled into NIL as well to retain players, to get players. So it just money becomes super important now. And that's not something, as far as I know, where, USF has some boosters, but to the level of some of these other teams to keep up with, it's going to be tough.
Yeah. But I still think, USF is a great spot for him, though, I still think, and to develop. And because Alex Golish, he clearly knows offense. This is one of the brightest offensive minds in the entire country.
Yep.
And USF's offense, outside of the game against UAB and, the FAU debacles, I love the fight in this team, man. They're not rolling over. They continue to come back out there, and Memphis is a good football team, and they were leading that game on the road. That would have been a good stamp victory for this program. Unfortunately, didn't get it done, but I still think USF has their goals in front of them, and that's getting bowl eligible. I still think it's possible with the offense they have. They just got to get better, athletes on the other side of the football. But I like where USF is at right now. I think it's been I still think it's been a good season.
Yeah, and now they just need to get these last two. They got Charlotte and
I think they have Temple in there too.
Yeah, Temple and
those
Charlotte.
Those are games you got to win.
Yeah, they can win them both. They're terrible teams, but you're not great on defense. Got to just play a little bit of defense in these last two games, get to a bowl game, get those extra practices, be huge for them. Absolutely huge. I want to get to a couple other new commenters and thank them for jumping in. KW4, JP, and all. Take a look at Bowles. I don't think he was calling the defensive plays. Did not have a play script in his hand during the entire game. If he wasn't calling them, who was? I noticed he had it some of the time, but not other times. Yeah, I'd have to.
Well, he was asked after the game, are you considering giving up defensive play calling duties? And he said,
absolutely
not at this time.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, I think he is the play caller, but I think it's fair to ask that question after yesterday.
Yeah, he's got to change everything if he's going to. I don't think anything changes with this team. It's not the way he does business. Shaq had a good game yesterday, did his job, had multiple pressures. Shaq is coming off an Achilles, so you can clearly tell he's getting closer than what he is. He was better yesterday.
He's better.
Had a tough penalty there. Quarterback's going down. You're reaching for him. I know you got to stay away from the legs, but that was a big call.
That's hard.
That's a 7-point call.
It's hard though for him to he's already falling to the ground.
Yeah, I know. You're supposed to fall and leave your hands off the player. I don't know how you do that, and that's why I didn't want to crush him for that. But it was a costly penalty, no question about it. Bowles is awful. I think we've come to that decision. TJC 22, good to see you in here. See Buccaneers first down play calling yesterday, 16 rushes, minus 0.21 EPA per rush, 25% success. It's so bad. And you look at how much success Houston had on first down throwing the football. Oh my God, that was the key to their offense.
On top of that, later in the game, the Bucs, I think, ran on first down and got nothing. Or no, it was the chase. What was it? It was on that last drive.
Yeah, last drive.
They didn't get anything on first down. And on second down, they ran to chase Edmond. They lost 8 yards. It was 2nd and 18. Or that was the first down, right? That was first down. And then on 2nd and 18, they ran again. And somehow then they got a false start penalty on Wirfs, and they were able to get the first down to their credit. But they love putting themselves in 3rd and long.
Huge hole. Yeah, they got out of that hole. Great throw to TP across the middle, and he almost got the first down. He had a good game yesterday. He's becoming a reliable option. Number 10. USF has a better shot at getting bowl eligible versus the Florida Gators.
That's
they do.
100% true.
Yeah, no question about it.
True.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to get to this comment from AJ. Appreciate you chiming in here. Hey, Nick, I know it's a lot of Bucs talk today, but what did you think of the NASCAR championship race yesterday? Yes, that did go on, JP, yesterday, by the way. There was you probably didn't know about it because NASCAR just loves hiding the fact that they have their most important race. But yeah, AJ, I'll just say, I think we've gone back and forth on Twitter about this. The playoff format stinks. You have 35 races, and then it comes down to the final one, and we change the rules, and whoever finishes ahead, has the best finish of the final 4 drivers wins the championship, even if they had one win all season. So, yeah, I hate it, AJ, but I feel like you probably feel the same way. But it is what it is. They're probably not going to change it. But congrats to Ryan Blaney. He's a NASCAR champion. There's your NASCAR talk right there.
Right in the middle of football season, it's so hard.
It is hard, but
I mean,
they had this problem though all season. The ratings are down. I mean, it is what it is.
Yep. I hear the Saudis. Is this true? I hear the Saudis are getting to buy NASCAR as they're going to add in a right turn. Is that a joke? If it is, it's a good one. It's a good one. All right, guys, thanks so much for jumping in on the comments. And we had a great audience today. We thank you guys so much. There'll be some bitch and moan Tuesday. I'm going to get through the rest of the film. We'll get the all 22 and just put a gun in my mouth for the whole night.
And last thing real quick. Congrats to Pete Bendix getting the
job Peter Bendix
with the Marlins, general manager. So
takes over for
Kim,
the woman who left, Kim Nj.
Yeah.
I don't know how you say that name. Nj.
Which was a weird situation how that went down, but congrats to Bendix. The Rays continue to have a farm system of GMs and coaches all over.
Maybe we'll trade. We'll get Kim to come over to the Rays. Or maybe Heim Bloom come back.
Yeah,
from
get Heim back in here. Let's rehabilitate him. Get Heim back in the building.
Bring back the dream team. See that? Yeah, they know how to work with a $70 million payroll. All right. All right. Thanks to all our guests today. Kasey Hudson, Khris Lugo, and Matt Matera. If you missed anything, folks, you know, you can always listen on the podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, fanstreamsports.com. Please like our YouTube page. Please like our Apple and Spotify. Go on there and make sure you get notified when it drops at noon each and every day. We thank you all for listening. We will be back tomorrow with much more fun and frivolity. See you then.